Good evening, everyone. Molweni, Dumelang. You notice all the Africans reply. Good evening, everyone. Yes, thank you very much. I am going to also associate myself with the wonderful list of protocol that was presented by the chairman of the National Science and Technology Forum. I think you would all agree that what I probably should just do is to recognize their excellencies, the ambassadors and high commissioners who have joined us this evening, leadership in the Department of Science and Technology, our wonderful scientists and awardees, leadership of institutions in the science system, leaders of higher education institutions, our sponsors, particularly Mr. Fraser, and all the other sponsors that have supported the forum and these awards over the years. But unfortunately, I can't go through all the names, and I hope you don't feel that I'm absolutely useless in diplomacy. I didn't go to diplomacy school anyway, so you're all most welcome and recognized. I'm again really thrilled to be at this, the 18th National Science and Technology Forum Awards, the 19th actually awards. I regard this particular awards dinner as one of the premier science events of the year in South Africa, an event where we celebrate excellence in science. I would like right from the outset to congratulate all the nominees and award winners on the role that each of them play in enhancing the performance of our national system of innovation. Each one of them is making a contribution to making South Africa look really good in the rest of the world. If you look at the World Economic Forum Competitiveness Report, you would see that we rank very well in terms of innovation. If you look at the most recent OECD report on research performance, you would see that South Africa ranks very well. And it is because of the scientists gathered here that we receive those accolades. So I congratulate each and every one of you and thank you for the work that you do for our country. Well, as we've been told by the program director, this year, our theme from the United Nations is the Year of Sustainable Tourism for Development. This was set as a theme as part of the recognition of the importance of fostering a greater awareness of the rich heritage that we have in many countries and of seeking to link this to science and its various disciplines. I believe the theme also allows us to look at initiatives that we might consider as initiatives that would bring about a better appreciation of the inherent values of different cultures, different races, and of different genders in our society. I think we're living in a very tumultuous world today, and we are challenged with the task of finding ways of drawing humanity together in a far more peaceful fashion. We're challenged by the need to look at how we create greater appreciation for diversity, greater appreciation for our different cultures, greater appreciation for the various identities that each of us ascribe to. And science has a particular role to play in this regard. And I think that we shouldn't, because we see the theme as tourism, believe that it has no application to our science disciplines. Tourism is extremely important, particularly to our country. We were absolutely thrilled in 2016 when it was recorded that South Africa had increased its tourism numbers by more than 12%, ranking among the highest preferred destinations in the world. So despite all our bluster and concern about our country, millions of people want to visit our country each year, meaning we rank among the best. So it helps us to create jobs, it helps us to drive exports, it helps us to generate wealth, both in our country and, of course, in the global community in its entirety. Well, we are asked this year through this theme to really focus on the potential of tourism to help advance the global 2030 agenda for sustainable development and the 17 sustainable development goals which all our countries have attached themselves to. Our researchers need to assist us in this regard by playing a leading role in generating the evidence base for changes in policies, business practices, and consumer behavior, that of tourists, toward a more sustainable tourism sector. So we need to be influencing the nature of sustainable tourism through the work that we do in our various institutions. As the Department of Science and Technology, we focus on a number of areas that relate to sustainability, such as the development of processes and products that would enhance the quality of our water sources, managing waste appropriately, innovative approaches to increasing access to energy solutions, as well as developing a vibrant bioeconomy. We also are invested in developing our understanding and knowledge of the humanities and the social sciences. Our aim in focusing on these areas is to catalyze vibrant, knowledge-based activities in South Africa, which will be driven by the quality of the scientists we train, the quality of our research infrastructure, and the enablers that we put in place to turn scientific research into appropriate technology. Of course, we have some sectors within the research disciplines which are more easily available to science tourism than others. The astronomy sector has been mentioned this evening, that study of the sky and that search for our origins, which is part of the discipline of paleontology. Science tourism is, of course, not equitable or equal to sustainable tourism, but science tourism provides resources to research sustainable tourism. Science tourism includes visiting and exploring scientific landmarks, museums, research facilities and research laboratories in our country, observatories, nature reserves, our various science centers, and some of our premier institutions of higher learning. But of course, if we limit ourselves to these, we would be adopting a very narrow perspective of the sustainability focus of the United Nations theme. More is being demanded by the UN from us, our institutions, and our scientists. They're asking us to consider virtual visits to protected sites, research initiatives that integrate integrity in the research agenda, visit programs that emphasize diversity and learning across culture. So they're asking us to think more deeply about what we do and to insert sustainability into our thinking. We are also talking about, in our sector, knowledge-oriented tourism. As the tourist makes a contribution to academic scholarship or research, as well as to learning more about scientific issues and principles, and providing us with a potential support base for future work. We have exciting collaboration as the DST with the Department of Tourism, the Northern Cape Department of Economic Development and Tourism, and the Karreeburg Municipality in the Northern Cape in establishing a science visitor center in Carnarvon to take advantage of an expected surge in knowledge tourism as a result of the development of the Meerkat and the Square Kilometre Array projects. Now, I know there's going to be a surge because already, just with the building of the Meerkat, which is our precursor telescope, which will be finalized, I'm sure it hasn't changed, DG, by March 31, 2018, we have 500 research groups already booked to use the Meerkat for research purposes between 2018 and 2022. This is excellent utilization of research facilities in our country. And so the communities of Van Wyksvlei, of Vosburg, of Williston and Carnarvon, which are all on the periphery of the SKA, will benefit from this project through programs such as enterprise development, career development, and education outreach. Our SALT, the Southern African Large Telescope, has boosted tourism significantly in Sutherland, both casual tourism as well as knowledge tourism. And it has transformed Sutherland from an agricultural town to a science tourism destination. Before SALT was constructed, Sutherland received approximately 250 visitors annually. Now it has over 12,000. This has spurred economic development in the remote town with the establishment of many new guest houses and related businesses. Of course, I can also say it has caused the purchase of a lot of heaters because Sutherland is really cold. The downside of this, of course, has been the challenge we have confronted of attempting to ensure that the poorest and most marginalized are also beneficiaries of these wonderful developments. It's a challenge we've not successfully addressed, but I think we've had the beginnings of an attempt at greater inclusion, one that has not really been tried in many different parts of the world. In similar vein, our South African Space Agency has developed visitor centers at their Space Science and Space Operations site in Hermanus and Hartbeespoort. At both sites, we offer programs to the public and school groups which emphasize the role and benefits of space science and technology to our everyday life and highlight the significance of the site location with regard to the important science that is taking place there. We also partner with our Department of Tourism on the National Heritage and Cultural Tourism Strategy, whose mission is to unlock the economic potential of heritage, including the paleosciences, through sustainable tourism development. All of you are familiar with the Cradle of Humankind World Heritage Site, which forms part of the Gauteng provincial government's premier tourist destinations. This site includes the development of associated facilities for knowledge tourism, such as the Wits Origin Center, the Sterkfontein Interpretation Center, and the Marupeng Center. All of these have made a significant impact on knowledge and on Gauteng's economy, sustainable tourism. I'm proud to say that our science in South Africa is leading the way in building understanding of our role in the history of life and in the future of the universe. We have an organization called PAST, or the Paleontological Scientific Trust, which promotes paleosciences research and education and public outreach programs. For example, its Walking Tall educational theater project, which has reached 1.2 million people across the African continent. It also has developed the All From One campaign and exhibition, which is a major project of this trust. It is an important project because its aim is to combat prejudice and discrimination in all its forms in order to reject prejudice and discrimination as a basis for interaction with others. All of us know, especially in our country and our history, that racial discrimination still remains one of the most insidious types of discrimination, and perhaps the biggest barrier to getting us to work together to build a sustainable future. The All From One exhibition is about acknowledging humankind's place in the universe, humankind as one species among millions. It's about tolerance and respect for one another so that we can unite and collaborate in conserving Earth's resources and its biodiversity. And if you've not yet visited the All From One campaign and exhibition, I urge you to visit Saibono, where it's currently being exhibited. You'll be deeply impressed with the work that is being done. We, of course, as a country, are one of the most bio-rich and diverse countries in the world. Sustainable development as a thrust provides us an opportunity to use science, technology, and innovation to preserve our biodiversity and its benefits. So let me close by saying, tonight is about celebration, not about long speeches from ministers. I heartily congratulate all the awardees and thank all the brilliant and wonderful sponsors for their support. Each year I attend this event, I'm impressed by how awards motivate our research community. I believe, on the basis of the evidence in the bios we've read and what we see here this evening, that our country, South Africa, has scientists who are among the best in the world. We have shown the world that we have confronted our legacy of apartheid and are working hard at building an inclusive democracy and society. We have shown the world that we have the capacity to compete with the best in emerging scientific fields and new technologies. We have shown the world that we can build global infrastructure for global science. The awardees are our best example. Young people here this evening particularly are brilliance, and those PhDs who are still to win awards should draw on the example of the work of the nominees and awardees to build future careers in science and technology. I believe, of course, while we're doing so brilliantly, there's still a great deal more for all of us to do, and so I look forward to meeting all of you at the 20th awards ceremony in 2018. Thank you very much and enjoy the evening.